ونحن بالنسبة لنا في اليمن نعتقد أن أي إنجاز يتحقق في اليمن هو مكسب لمصر وللأمة العربية، وأي أيضا إنجاز يتحقق في مصر نعتبره مكسب لليمن وللأمة العربية. وإضافة إلى ذلك نحن في اليمن نكن بالإعزاز للمصريين وللشهداء المصريين أن ما وصلنا إليه اليوم من هذه الديمقراطية وهذه الإنجازات التنموية ساهم فيها الشهداء المصريين الذي دافعوا عن الثورة. فلهذا السبب الجسور قائمة، وما علينا الآن إلا كيف أن ربما نوسع هذا الجسر ليشمل المزيد من العمل اليمني المصري المشترك والتعاون الاقتصادي وتبادل الخبرات التي هي موجودة إلى حد ما، وأن تكون اليمن ومصر الحقيقة في مقدمة الدول العربية التي ترعى التغيير الذي نريده للنظام العربي الجديد.
على الجانب الآخر من الجسر يقف الآخر، البروفيسور الأمريكي ليس كاسل رئيس منظمة الديمقراطية.
Well, it was a very positive experience. This is the third election in Yemen's history since it unified North and South Yemen, and each one has improved dramatically, both in terms of how they've been administered, the technical aspects, but also the political aspects. What we saw in this election in 2003 was very intense multi-party competition, as well as participation by all parts of society. There were some negative things. I think that the ruling party of Yemen acted a little bit in a heavy-handed manner once in a while, and a few problems. But overall, it was a very important step forward, and I think Yemen is actually leading the way on the Arabian Peninsula in showing how you can move forward in the whole area of democracy.
Mr. Les, you are concerning about the democracy affairs in all over the world, and especially in Middle East and North Africa. Let me ask you about what do you think about the new concept for democracy that a lot of voices today, especially sorry for say that, American voices say that we should build a new democracy in Arab world. What do you think about that?
Well, I think there are different points of view that are expressed from America, and one of the points of view I really don't agree with, and that's the point of view that says we in the West should try to impose democracy. I don't agree with that. I don't think that democracy comes from the barrel of a gun. I don't think that democracy comes from pressure. I think that the way to build democracy is to work with people in the countries, to look at indigenous actors, people who are already working to help their own country and to build more democracy and freedom. And our organization has worked in the Middle East and North Africa since 1993, so for about 10 years, and we know hundreds, if not thousands of people, whether they're university professors, professionals, lawyers, doctors, NGO leaders, politicians, members of parliament, many, many others, who are very much working to build a genuine democracy. And so I would say let's work with those people in their countries to build a democracy that's unique to that country, to that situation, not to try to impose something from outside.
Is your image about Yemen, for example, is it changed after coming here?
Sure. I mean, we had a great experience. I mean, every Yemeni, without exception, was open, friendly, smiling, welcoming. People were welcoming us into their homes. We had complete freedom to see whatever we wanted to see, go wherever we wanted to go. And so the notion that somehow Yemen is a haven for terrorists and so dangerous and so on, once you're here, I mean, you don't see any of that. It's a wonderful experience.
Mr. Les, the last question is a solution. We are here in Arab world suffering a lot from unfair image, from bad image and all over the world, especially in Western mind. Let me ask you, what are the rules for both sides, for Arab world, what their responsibilities to correct their image, to make a bridges to us and to you, and also what is the responsibility for the Western mind, for you in America, other people in Europe, to make some bridges, to correct this bad image, to be anti-discrimination all over the world?
Well, I think probably the prescription is the same for both sides. Narrowness and lack of knowledge produces hate. I think we in the West often have a lack of knowledge about Arabs in the Arab world, and that lack of knowledge sometimes allows people to have stereotypes of maybe a violent person or someone that is spewing hate. On the Arab side, I think sometimes people look at us in the West and say, oh, we're decadent and we want to impose everything and we think we're right. And I really don't think that's the case. There are, in the West, of course, there are religious people and there are gentle people and there are mean people. We're all different. So both sides have to open up their minds. But, having said that, I think that one thing that would be nice in the Arab world particularly is that there's no doubt that there is the existence of many authoritarian governments that have not allowed freedom, that don't allow people to think and say what they want to say, have contributed to the rise of extremism. Because there's no doubt that extremists exist and they're repressed and so on. And if these countries would normalize, become normal and join the rest of the world, then those extremists would have nowhere to hide anymore, and that would be very positive for all of us.
Last question, if you think that there is some role for NGOs in Arab world to make some enhancing for this, to correct this bad image, for example, if you think for a more cooperation between your institution and in some NGOs in Arab world?
Yeah. Well, I think, our organization cooperates with NGOs throughout the Arab world. We use them as partners all the time, because non-governmental organizations provide the bridge between people and their governments, between politicians and constituents. And it's very, very important. They also can provide an educational role, and they can bring in the experiences from other countries. So a local NGO can bring in comparative experiences from other countries without being resented, because they're not, it's not foreigners coming in and telling people what to do. So I think there's a big role for NGOs.
Last word for the Arab people. How we can describe the Arab people? And it is still tourist, it is still under development, or what do you think? Describe them, Mr. Les.
It's hard to describe. I mean, there's no doubt that there has been underdevelopment, but people have said, and I agree from my travels, that it's primarily the role of women that's underdeveloped. Until women in the Arab world are made full partners in the economy, in the political system, and in family and social life, the development potential will never be there, because the productive capacity of half the population is not being used. I mean, it's worse in a place like Yemen, say, than Egypt, but still, all over the Arab world, you find that the productive capacity of women is wasted, and that will always hold back development. It also leads to things like overpopulation and so on. Well, tremendous support, but that is a huge problem that has to be addressed.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
تركنا صنعاء الجميلة وذهبنا إلى مأرب، حيث السر الخالد في تاريخ اليمن ما بين سر الملكة بلقيس ملكة سبأ في عهد النبي سليمان الحكيم عليه السلام، وما بين أسرار حضرموت الموطن الأصلي لأسامة بن لادن. وإن كانت أكثر خطوات الجسر سخونة في تشكيل الصورة اليمنية حينما التقيت والأمير عبد الله شيخ القبيلة في مأرب في أول ظهور له على كاميرا تلفزيونية، وأجاب على سؤالي: هل تخطفون السائحين؟ لم ننتهي بعد. النموذج اليمني شديد الخصوصية، شديد التعقيد، حالة مختلفة إلى حد ما على الساحة العربية. انتظرونا في الجزء القادم من النموذج اليمني، ربما تبدو الأحداث فيه أكثر سخونة، نبحث من خلاله صورة حياة القبيلة في اليمن ما بين خطف السائحين ووضعية المرأة اليمنية. وربما كانت روح بلقيس العظيمة ملكة سبأ في عهد النبي سليمان الحكيم عليه السلام، والتي اشتهرت بالحكمة والموضوعية وأقامت مملكتها على أساس الشورى، دليل على حضارة امتدت أكثر من 3000 عام تحاول أن تستكمل النهضة المعاصرة. انتظرونا نستكمل النموذج اليمني والديمقراطية في العالم العربي في اللقاء القريب. حتى هذا اللقاء تفضلوا تقبلوا شكري وامتناني.